Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and it's time once again for the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. Joining me, as always, is my sidekick, Austin, and tonight, how did we pick this one? I guess we did a poll, and you put this on a poll of animated movies, and we ended up with the Puss in Boots sequel, a sequel to a movie that I have never seen, and I don't know if I ever will see. I don't know, maybe at some point. This will probably be the first time that I have reviewed a movie on the Commentary Project Rewind in general that is a sequel to a thing that I have never seen. But I have been told that this
probably, yeah.
I've been told this stands alone just fine on its own. That it could watch like it's its own things. I watched it that way. But this is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a movie that I was shocked a couple of years ago to discover is apparently technically. I say apparently, I've seen it now, but was apparently technically a superhero movie, and I knew literally nothing about this property. Like, I saw the original Shrek in the theater back in the 90s when it came out, didn't care for it, didn't love the aesthetic, didn't love the setting, just could not really care less, didn't bother with any of the sequels, that all looked really obligatory to me. I know people swear by Shrek 2, I've just never bothered with it, I've just never seen it, and so I wasn't even familiar with this character, because this character doesn't appear in that first movie, I don't think, and so,
no.
All I knew about Puss in Boots was, it's a cat, probably. Because, like, it sounds like a cat character, so it's probably a cat. And then I found out that it's like a Zorro character, and so it's kind of a superhero. And now I've seen it. And my response to, is this a superhero movie, is, well, the character is indisputably in his world a superhero, and especially in his own mind a superhero. Is it telling a superhero story? Like, yes and no. Like, it counts well enough, but, like, the story itself is not really a superhero story.
No, it kind of just counts because it's Zorro. Because they just went, we can just make our own Zorro movie.
But it's a fairy tale story before it's a superhero story, certainly, although it does have something to do with the hero striking that, or the character that thinks he's a hero striking that balance. Or trying to find that balance between doing that job and having a personal life. So it's got that in there. We kind of take
fairy tale characters and make like super villains kind of out of them too.
That's true too. Yeah, it's weird. There's a big long section in the middle where I completely forget that I'm watching this thing for this show, where I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to do this because it's a superhero movie? I'm trying to find that angle in it. And then when you get to the third act, it wins its way back around to some degree. But particularly with the Jack Horner character, who is very, very much kind of a supervillain sort of character. And there's a lot of superhero movies that like this are about, you know, MacGuffin plots. Like, everybody's after a thing. But I mean, I guess the difference is your hero in the first place isn't really after the thing to stop in end of the world plot, even though there is an end of the world plot. But he's not really that interested in that initially. He's just after the artifact for also his own selfish reasons.
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a epiphany watching it this time, where I went, "Oh my god, this is the Lego Batman movie."
That's what I had from. So you stole my angle. You stole my whole damn thing because I was gonna bring that up. Moment one, because within the first 2 minutes, like when he starts singing that song at the start, I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly what the Lego Batman movie is. And what I'm a little shocked by is that you didn't have that when you saw this the first time, because this is 5 years after that movie.
Yeah, I also don't like the Lego Batman movie, so I probably just wasn't thinking about it. And just for whatever reason, this time I was like, I just like clicked where I was like, wait a minute.
No, this is that exact same story. At least it's the same character arc. But it comes from somewhat of a different place. Like we're trying to play it from an initial more kind of tragic place with Lego Batman, just because we've got the Batman angle of his parents are dead, and so he is. Even though it's the silly Lego thing, we've still got that, and so he's afraid to get close to anybody because he's afraid he'll lose them. This kind of has that, but with Kitty, with the girl that he didn't marry, but it's not as tragic of a background. And the biggest difference between them is that movie is just about a really obnoxious protagonist. And like I really like the Lego Batman movie, but like this guy is both arrogant and likable from the start. And then I guess the other big difference between them, I'm just gonna get this out now since it came up already. The other
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But the other big difference, you're good. I'm surprised that you said it already, because I figured I was gonna throw that out as like this big epiphany that I had. You'd be like, well, yeah, duh. Everybody's been talking this whole time about how it's the same thing as the Lego Batman movie, because I've never heard anybody talk about this movie. So I figured that was just probably a common common thing people talked about. The other difference is Puss in this movie kind of comes to his like takes his opportunity for change 2/3 of the way into the movie, and Batman, it takes most of the movie in Lego Batman.
That's true. Yeah.
In this, he figures it out a lot quicker, and then Death just has to catch up at the end. It's like if Death understood what Puss had already figured out for himself when they're in that cave, the movie is 65 minutes long.
Yeah. Well, I also think that there is a blander version of this movie where Death is not a character.
Yeah.
Because like the main kind of story and the adventure he's not involved with, like that is just a personification of his own struggles. So like there is a version of this film that doesn't have that part, and it's only spoken about, and it's probably way worse.
You're right. You stole that point from me too. You didn't steal it. But I was also going to say
I'm taking all your stuff.
In fact, I took a few thematic notes on this, and I actually wrote exactly that word, personification. That Death is not the villain of this movie. Death is the visual manifestation of the internal conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Well, good night, everybody. I've said everything I had to say about
this. it. Rating Nemesis. Good night, everyone.
No, Horner's the real villain. Horner's the classic, like superhero story villain, where he's just after greed and power, and you gotta stop him from getting that. Even though your hero is not really paying all that much attention to the fact that that's what he's after until right at the very end.
Yeah, well, we kind of fit in both, like...
He literally has to become a giant for the hero to even really notice him that much. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely. No, we kind of have both a redemptive villain and just like a classic Disney, just evil for the sake of being evil villain.
You do, and then you have the Grim Reaper in the background, and I think you could, even though we're saying that's a manifestation of the character arc before it's like really the bad guy. I don't know, Austin. Are those like kind of the three villain archetypes, like main villain archetypes? You know, you have like, and I don't just mean for comics. I just mean like in literature, those might be your three. You know, you're like somewhat humanized villain where you can see where they're coming from, but they're in the wrong, and they can be redeemed. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. That's your Magneto, right? And then you can have just your straight up like a evil, like soulless, no compassion, not capable of it. That's your Jokers, those kind of characters.
Yeah.
And
then Death is your Galactus.
Death, sure, your Galactus, your Mephisto, your like the classic devil. You gotta have that to be the yin to God's yang, whoever God is in your story. Well, once again, good night, everybody. We've
Nemesis, good night.
In our intro for this commentary, we've already cracked the code for villains in literature. No, I wonder if that's like a standard thing that like literature analysts have written about, where like really there's only three villains. I don't know that
kind of like there's only 7 stories.
Yeah, like I don't know that I've seen exactly that. But. And I don't know if we could sit here and like make up anymore, but everything else I can try to think of as an archetype fits within one of those three.
Yeah, for sure.
Like serial killers are kind of straight up evil, like not typically redemptive. Your corrupt politician could be either. You know, like anything else I can think of, like politician or like evil corporate mogul, or could be both.
Taxman is Death. It's always coming for you.
Anyway, well, I mean, we're already mining a lot of thematic goodness out of this thing, and it's a little animated sequel to a movie that was a spin-off of a franchise that I don't like very much.
Well,
it's very strange.
Even better than that, it's the sequel to a film that was a spin-off to a sequel to a film that you don't like.
That's true too. That's true. Now, nobody come at me about not liking Shrek, because literally it's been 30 years since I've seen it. Like I don't know, 25, however long it's been. So maybe I'd go back and sit through it and enjoy it. I don't know, but I didn't like it then, and so I've just never gone back and bothered with it.
I mean, I think Shrek, the first one, is a mixed bag. There's stuff I like about it, and then there's stuff I don't. And then 2 I really like, and then 3 is really bad, and then I've never seen 4. And I've never seen the first Puss in Boots, because everyone was like, I don't know, they made a thing. It was like a cash-in thing. Who cares? And then for whatever reason on this one, people like actually wanted to make it. And this was also in development hell for 10 years.
For 10 years,
so
yeah. I read about that, where like it sounded like it was almost rushed. But from the, like, because they started talking about it in like 12, and then it sounded like it was supposed to come out in like 14 initially. If memory serves from the like 5 minutes of cursory research I did before we got in here. But we'll start watching the movie here in a minute. But the original title was supposed to be something like 9 Lives and 40 Thieves, I think. And
yeah, something like that.
That means they had this 9 Lives angle from the start. And they just reworked it to maybe, for lack of a better term, to like have more heart or be more like actually about something, mine some human truth in it. It just seems like somebody in the development of this got inspired and started writing from personal experience and made it something that was a lot more relatable. So it's really interesting, because usually the opposite happens. Usually somebody writes a really inspired script and then it gets watered down real bad, and you end up with something horribly compromised that comes out the other side.
It was especially for something in development hell for so long. That and just like completely changing the art style. Is very weird for, again, a sequel to a spin-off to a sequel to an original film.
Well, Let's go ahead and start watching it, or I'm going to have nothing else to say, because this is new to me, and I just watched this today for the first time. So, everybody get to timestamp 0, however you're going to watch it. I rented it on YouTube. It's available on Netflix in some countries that are not mine. So, Austin's got it in Canada there. I don't know if where it is in some other places. Here it's on Peacock. I'm not currently subscribed to that, so I just rented it on YouTube for $4. And away we go. So if you're watching it on disc, get past menus and everything, again, timestamp 0, and we're just about to begin. Austin, are you ready, sir?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Da 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 da.
I think this is a first for Rewind, but just for a second, I'm going to complain about logos. I hate the new DreamWorks logo.
Oh, because it's got all the franchises in it?
All the different characters. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Well,
especially because they've always been cool at having like personalized logos for movies. It's like it's kind of lame that they made this.
Well, and the original DreamWorks logo is real classy. Which is ironic, because they were using that during a period where their movies were not that classy, but their logo was. And now some of their movies have kind of caught up and gotten, in my mind, a little bit more timeless and sophisticated. And their logo looks like it should be for Illumination. It's very strange.
Yeah. Well, it does kind of remind me of Illumination, where like Illumination is like the minions in it. And then, except this, obviously, we're going through a bunch of stuff, but
yeah. Well, here they don't have. They haven't decided that one of their characters is their mascot, like Illumination did, and then Pixar just started with a mascot from a short they did in the first place, and so like I like that better because they always had a mascot.
Yeah, for sure. So a big thing with this right out the get-go. So I actually rewatched Shrek 2 today and then rewatched this.
I saw that on your Letterboxd.
Yeah, and I think it is like incredibly like interesting looking at them together that way. Just how they handle things differently and are both subversive. Where I think Shrek, obviously, as you know, is like, LOL, this stuff is dumb. Let's make fun of it.
Yeah.
While here, like, we're like, oh, fairy tales are cool. Like, let's, take this seriously. In a time where we're so ironic about everything.
There is a lot more reverence for their source material, even though they are in places like subverting it and turning stuff on its head. Like, they're turning Goldilocks into sort of a bad guy, but the sense I get is that she's the redemptive villain because they don't want to stray too far away from what the original fairy tales are. So they go, by the end, she's still got to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
yeah, for sure.
Like, Horner sounds like, maybe kind of a irritating, crappy character even in the fairy tale, and so, or even in the nursery rhyme.
The nursery rhyme.
I kind of like that distinction of, like, I'm not even good enough for a whole fairy tale. Now, I don't know.
That is a great line.
I'm going to jump around a little bit. It is. I've got this kind of conflicted thing with this movie where sometimes it's earnest and sometimes it's irreverent. And I cannot decide entirely if I'm okay with the balance they're trying to find between those two things. They want to do both, and so there's a lot of places where they will do that kind of Marvel self-aware, like not even isn't some of this ridiculous and stupid and silly, but just peeling the curtain back and saying we know what we're in. I don't know if I like the characters in this knowing they're in a fairy tale. And, like, that might come from Shrek already, I don't remember, but, like, even if it does, I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of wish they weren't commenting on it. But then, there are some funny lines out of it, like, they're clever about it. But just within the fiction, I don't know if I like them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is something they just kind of stuck with from Shrek, but I can understand that.
But yeah,
I like right away we set up. Oh, go ahead.
He's doing that Lego Batman song, and it's also funny because he's got a deep-voiced voiceover right at the start, just like in the Lego Batman movie, when Batman's like,
That's true,
like
yeah.
all important movies start with a black screen, and like in this, it's not humorous. It's just establishing the MacGuffin, and it's also establishing nursery rhymes. Like, and I really like that the wishing star thing actually comes from a nursery rhyme.
Yeah. Well, and also in the song too, we set up the whole he's never been cut by a blade, which obviously is setting up where the plot's going.
Yeah. Well, I kept wondering for a minute if he was just so full of himself, and this is another place where it's a departure from Lego Batman with the character, where it's like, is he just so full of himself that he's in denial about that and has maybe been cut before, or is pretending like he hasn't in order to like save face? And it's like, no, he's actually that good and earns his arrogance to some degree.
Yeah. No, his deaths come out of his arrogance and that they're all completely avoidable.
That part of it's
being
true.
Stupid.
But he's also skilled, and I believe that like he's had a bell dropped on him and he died, but he's not ever been stabbed to death.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
He has avoided that, so he's a master swordsman. So like he is just straight up Cat Zorro.
Well, of course, we got the, he cuts the P into people like Zorro cuts the Z into people.
You gotta do that. But I like,
of course, the big thing is it's Banderas as well.
Yeah, and isn't that great? It's kind of great that he got to play this character in two, like, really solid sort of Zorro movies. Now,
I like the idea that Zorro had a bad sequel and then this possibly has a bad first movie.
People in the comments were saying that first movie's good, but I've not seen it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I've not seen it either. I've just always heard it's kind of generic, so I never watched it.
Well, and I wonder how much of a superhero movie that is. Like, I wonder if it's as much straight-up Zorro.
I think it is also that kind of a thing. I know, the only thing I know about it is, obviously, Kitty Softpaws is in it, and they do a thing where he was raised with Humpty Dumpty, and they're, like, brother kind of roles, but he's the villain of the story. So it's almost like a Lex and Clark when Lex is in Smallville kind of thing.
Oh, cool. Well, you know how much I like that trope.
Yeah.
That always makes me
exactly.
happy. And the Professor X Magneto thing from First Class.
True, yeah.
So what struck me, immediately, we're about 7 minutes in, what struck me visually about this movie, and I had heard a lot of people talking about like how kind of inspired this was visually and how like pretty it is. It is a really theatrical kind of experience. Like I do sort of wish that I had seen this in the theater, and
yeah.
I'm gonna blame the title, by the way, because it sounds so generic. Like once I've seen the movie, The Last Wish is correct for like what the movie is about. And what's weird is, I'm jumping around again. I'm sorry. What's weird is, once I know what the story is, there's actually some bite to that title. There's actually some edge in it. But it doesn't sound... Yeah. When you first hear it, it sounds like a direct-to-video Disney animated movie from the 90s. Like, The Last Wish. Okay, that sounds like real flowery, and the word...
Enchanted Christmas.
The word last is very important. But until you've seen the movie... or a trailer or whatever, you wouldn't have any sense just from that title that this is going to be about mortality and death and the whole 9 lives angle and the fact that he's squandered his lives and the fact that what he's wishing for is more lives. And I don't know how you get that into that title. Like the 9 Lives 40 Thieves thing also would not get me to the theater. That also sounds like a direct-to-video Disney movie. So like I'm not saying they should have stuck to that title, but Last Wish sounds drippy with a movie that has some real bite to it. It's not drippy.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. Also, before we get too far away from it, I just wanted to mention when he's running on the rooftops, there's a shot where it shows the crowd, and there's like a dark alleyway behind them, and Death is standing there watching the battle, and that's such a great detail on rewatches.
That's awesome. I did not catch that. By the way, I went ahead and turned the clock off because I completely forgot to start it. And so
Oh.
I can't start it now. So if anybody needs a timestamp, I mention it in the comments and somebody will help you out. But
Yeah.
anyway, and I will start reading super chats here in a minute because we've already got several. And thank you guys for the support tonight. We sure appreciate it. And I forgot to say at the start of the show, if you're watching live, we really appreciate you being here, and we'll try to interact with you as we go. Super chats, as always, are appreciated, and we will guarantee to talk about your ideas and feelings about the movie when you do that. But we'll try to interact with you. Apart from that, also, I love that this doctor has skulls all over his office. That's fantastic. That like we established the scene with all of that, and it looks kind of garish and macabre, but in a funny way because it's like cat skeletons. Before we realize that he's basically going to give Puss the news that he has in a weird way an ailment that's going to kill him. Because he thinks he can live forever because he's a cat and he's got all these lives. Like, you're down to one. And so, like, for anyone else, down to one life is just life. But for him, that's like telling you that you have what is the word I'm looking for?
Like cancer or something.
Yeah, not chronic. What's the word I'm looking? But anyway, that like you're gonna it's gonna kill you soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, especially
terminal. I'm sorry, I get
this.
stuck on words I can't think of. It's okay. Terminal.
Mm-hmm. Puss in Boots' terminal wish.
Oh, he's in the. See, that's. But then you'd think the whole movie takes. Then you just think the whole movie takes place in an airport. Yes, the dog painting is great. You gotta have that. I love that we get a montage where we get to see all of them.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I like the little cards that pop up with the count.
Well, and that feels like kind of a throwback to silent movies. And Zorro has its history rooted in silent film. I don't know if that's intentional, but I had that thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. It very much is like that kind of silent film text shot.
The way they're playing it with the music and everything, there's something that also feels kind of inherently Spanish about it. I can't really put my finger on that because I don't know anything really about like Spanish cinema or anything. But but it feels like there's an angle from that part of the world. I don't know. I meant to. So I'll read the super chats in a minute, but I started to say this earlier. Visually, what really got me about this movie is how mixed media it feels. So you said it gets away from that initial Shrek look, and it's of course going for this more painted thing. But like not all the time. There's a hint of that all through it, but then there are places where it kind of shifts into a more like fully painted but not flat kind of art style, and then the frame rate will change, and it's taking some cues from and the producers even have even said this. It takes some cues from the Spider-Verse movies, I think, particularly in the frame rate drop. But they're wanting to look more like a storybook than a comic book, and so that's how it sets it apart from that. But what's neat is it feels like mixed media to me, but it's not that like 2D to suddenly 3D thing that you got a lot in like 90s animated TV, where just suddenly you have a shot that is all CG. It feels fluid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. I just want to mention too, while we're talking about animation, just cool visual stuff in this sequence specifically. Like he's taking shots of milk, and he's got 8 glasses in front of him that are empty, and he's on his 9th one.
Oh, that's cool.
Obviously, you have Death holding his reflection out as his introduction. Just there's so many cool, neat little things like that they do in this, and obviously we set up Death earlier with the doctor blowing out the candle. That's how he's introduced here.
Well, I think the best compliment I can give this movie is that it's so much more thoughtful than it has to be.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Like this could really just run through the motions, and it like through the, I don't want to say cookie cutter plot, because even the plotting is better than that. But like it could just run through the plot points and have cute characters and have cool designs and neat visuals, and it's got a good attention to detail. Now I will say personally, for my own taste, I think I like the characterization and the story and the overarching story more than I like some of the execution. Just personally, and like really good attention to detail. Like we said, some of the humor doesn't land for me, and some of the kind of modern animated, for kids kind of filmmaking is a little lost on me in places. There's places where the vernacular is more contemporary than I want it to be because I'm an old man now, and we're like I'm not gonna be a prude and complain about some of these shots are so freaking cool. The red when he's got his it's not a scythe. What is it? He's got his.
It's a sickle.
Sickle. Thank you.
Because a scythe, of course, you take out multiple plants, but a sickle is when you have a plant that's a little bit harder, and you're gonna focus on that one specifically.
And that's what he's doing.
So it's
yeah. That makes a lot of sense. He's just got such a good menacing design that like really sticks with you. I like the red eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and this really fits into the kind of Don Bluth mentality, which is something that I always, talk about, where it's just you can throw in as much dark stuff in a kid's movie as you want, as long as you have like a happy ending and they go away happy. Like, it's okay to scare children in the middle of your movie, and I think this film does a really good job of that.
Well, and I think the other thing that earns it is you're right. Like the way you cheat with parents is to have a happy ending. But the main way you earn it, as opposed to just getting away with it, Austin, is by your movie actually having like real, honest to God, object lesson in morality, where like it really is teaching something, and that's a thing that's lost a lot in like modern kids movies. And I realize that these things aren't aimed just at children anymore, particularly these Shrek things and some of DreamWorks. But like, I don't know if you've seen Wild Robot yet, but that's the movie they made before this. I actually like that movie a little bit more than this, and some of that's my sensibilities. I'm a sci-fi guy more than I'm a fairy tale guy, but and it also has some humor.
I really like that.
I don't really care for, but that's the big thing they both have in common, is that they're back to the tradition of, and not in a heavy-handed way, but like not talking over or not talking down to children, and leaving them with a thoughtful lesson that they can take home with them, and Bluth did that too. That's kind of the point I'm making. Now, Bluth would not have done it this way because this dog will not go to heaven because he's deaf. There's no.
Bluth would have made it even scarier for longer periods. Without any of the humor.
But what I started to say earlier is I don't want to be a prude and say I can't handle any crude language in a animated movie like this. I appreciate that they come out and say hell and stuff like that. I like the bite this has, and I like that it's not obligatory and it's not like trying to impress me with the language. Like, it feels like most of the time it's just the way people talk. I don't like the bleeping. That doesn't work.
Fair.
That doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I think this earns a PG.
I'd almost rather them just say it if they're gonna say it. Like, I don't like the bleeping.
Yeah, I know for sure. No, I'm glad there isn't more of that. I'm glad it's only the 2 times. If they had kept doing it, I think it would have been really rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think this earns a PG, absolutely. When a lot of these kinds of movies don't. Also with the like kind of vulgarity thing, Puss escapes death by climbing through a toilet, and we do not make a crude joke out of that. And I think that's genuinely pretty impressive for what they can be at times.
And it proves that toilets are not always funny.
It's true. Sometimes they're scary.
That is a place where that toilet is not funny. You can't argue with that. I did not notice on first watch that when he has his makeshift grave, he's got the wooden P like he carves in people, and I saw a review of this today that called it from when it came out. That called it the like Puss in Boots response to Logan that I didn't know I needed, and
interesting.
And there's hints of that. I think it's silly to act like it's exactly that movie, but I didn't notice that, so that's kind of fun. But the other thing is, this does have a little bit of that like old man Puss in Boots thing.
Yes, and I think I almost mentioned that the other day to you, but no, I think in the ways in which it's Logan, besides just obviously an old man Puss in Boots thing, is also this is a deconstruction, but it's not a deconstruction in what we usually do. It's also a reconstruction by the end, which is something that we all often talk about, where it's like, yeah, it's cool doing deconstructions, but sometimes you also have to rebuild them at the same time, or just do that in general. Well, and I think that's why people liked this more than a lot of other ones like that.
When you say
obviously not Logan, people like Logan.
When you say deconstruction, what is it deconstructing?
Well, I mean, I think just like all of this, like deconstructing this character as like a rogue, and how he's kind of an arrogant person that's not like this great guy like he's kind of portrayed in the other ones. Like we're tearing down that persona that he is in the other movies, and then kind of rebuilding it. And obviously that's his character arc, but like in that way, I think it's a deconstruction.
Yeah, like, do you think it's beyond just like the basic story for that character where he's having to like face the fact that he's bought into his own press too much and he's avoided having a real life, really? Do you think it's deconstructing any genre stuff, like either in superhero or fairy tale or whatever? Because I don't know, with the fairy tale stuff, if I see it as much of a deconstruction as I do just a like parody satire thing.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking more so
Sometimes
just the character
both.
specifically, as opposed to like the genre itself. But yeah. So I was thinking about it more in that way than in terms of just fairy tales or superhero things.
But yeah, it is. I mean, like Logan, obviously, and even Old Man Logan, deconstruction of that character, if not the superhero genre, where you have a guy that thinks he might live forever, and then like clearly isn't going to, and gets kind of brought to his lowest point, and like now he's not healing as well, and he's got to kind of face his own mortality, and in that way this is actually kind of that story, because it is literally the A, facing your mortality, and B, like thinking you had longer to live than you did.
Yeah, and also kind of on this viewing reminded me of Skyfall in that way as well, which is obviously also doing that.
That's interesting. Well, and it's also funny because since this was in development hell, it ends up being not a legacy sequel, not a decades later sequel, but like later than it's supposed to be, so it kind of feels like one of those. So it almost feels like it should be. I'm going to say something that I just thought of that might ultimately be stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway. It kind of watches like a way later Puss in Boots 4 or something. It almost feels like there should be a whole trilogy before this.
Yeah.
You know, where like you
I
see
mean, that's
him.
what Skyfall has. Yeah.
Where you go see him be well, and even like Days of Future Past has that. Like
Sure.
we've
Yeah.
had this with a lot of franchise movies where you kind of skip to the "we've been doing this for so long" movie, and it works really well with this. I'm not suggesting that it's a problem that there weren't more movies in between with this, because since it's got that Zorro archetype, you can imagine all the adventures that he has in between. You don't really need to see them. It would maybe even be redundant if you had that. So like we know what we're doing here. This is how you get some new ground out of it. Although even this we've done with enough other characters that it's nice that it finds something of another angle for it. Which is that it's not about. It's almost the opposite of self-sacrifice. Even though it's about a hero who is too arrogant and has to find his humility, his big character arc is about learning how to go have a life, and so it's that it's that classic lesson about realizing that like the point of or life is not worth living if it's not finite. Like it's like you appreciate what you have when you realize you're not going to have it forever. Like that whole thing. And so like Logan, he has to have the big sacrifice at the end. He dies at the end. With this, it's about a guy that lives a long time but hasn't really lived, even though he thinks he has, because he's made his life all about what other people think of him. It's all about reputation. And so if you make your life if you just hold yourself to that, first of all, it's really easy to have a shattering disillusionment where you realize that you're not that larger than life character. You have flaws. You are just a person. And B, you realize that if you live just for people like praising you superficially, you realize that you never actually lived because you didn't do anything for yourself. So in a weird way, in being selfish, you actually didn't get anything out of it. And so Logan ends with his death. Then this ends with this guy finally going off and living.
Yeah. Yeah, and we get like a self-sacrifice thing just to the extent of, when he has the big fight with Death at the end, and he's like, I'll fight you to the bitter end, and then that's when Death's like, okay, like, I'm not gonna kill you. So it's like you have like an element of it, but obviously we're not gonna go that route.
Yeah. That's true, I guess, and of course I only saw this the once. I read that scene more as... Because, like, is he fighting to save the world in that moment, or is he just fighting because he wants to live and he's decided to give up on the idea of wishing for more lives because he's not going to appreciate his life if he just keeps cheating like that? You know?
Yeah, it's that. It's that's why it's, you have the sword on the floor and he's holding the wish, and it's dropping the chance to have more lives to fight for the one that he does have.
Yeah.
And then that's obviously where Death is like, oh, okay, you've now learned to appreciate having life, which is the only reason I was coming to kill you.
But that's why I'm saying it's not a typical self-sacrifice, because a typical self-sacrifice would be if I need to die so these people can live. That's your typical self-sacrifice. So you're right. He is sacrificing something, but he's sacrificing long life for the sake of good life, which is still all about him. So it's not a typical self-sacrifice.
No, true.
And it's interesting because they could have made it all about him. Like, he does give Kitty the wish, and she says, I have everything I want, and the dog the wish, I have everything I want. But he doesn't do that, he doesn't have that exchange with Death because he wants to sacrifice the wish for someone else. I think if no one else was there, he'd do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because now that he's come to that point, so whether they were there or not, he would still... do that.
Like, he already had his chances. He already squandered all of those lives. and so he knows that if he just takes more lives, he could find himself not appreciating them again and being right back where he was. That's interesting because I don't think he would. I think once you've like taken that opportunity for change and you've had that light switch, I think I think at that point, if he took 9 more lives, he would just live a lot longer. Like, I think he actually would probably appreciate them more to some degree, but I like the principle of the thing. And I think he's so principled at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of those rare, almost kind of light switch character changes that I actually really buy, where he just gets to a point where he's like, I want to be the person that lives life to the fullest and doesn't cheat. And so there's a lot of character arcs where I'll complain that a person like comes to a conclusion, whatever it is, too quickly, and you don't still see a little bit of flaw in them. This is one of those rare cases where I don't need that.
Yeah, I think it helps that we find a way to personify what he was like beforehand, so we can, interact with those other lives.
Yeah, that's a real classic scene, right? Like, that's Luke Skywalker in the cave, like...
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, that's what, the ways in which we're using the kind of fairy tale thing to really push that stuff forward,
It's neat the way they are mining the fairy tales for character motivation in this. That's one of the places where I feel like it's really thoughtful. We're exploring we're exploring more mortality through all of these different interests in what each of these characters will wish for, and some of them are totally selfish, and I mean they're all in their way selfish, I guess, but what I mean is some of them are more materialistic, and some of them are about family, and what Puss in Boots has to come to at the end, or I guess 2/3 of the way through, is the family lesson. But what's interesting is some of the characters that want to wish for family are also in the wrong, and what it's really all about by the end is contentedness. And so even the ones that want family, when you get to the end, the redeemable ones are the characters that don't even want that at the end of the day because they realize they found it already. And so Horner ends up being a really good foil for our main protagonist because they are the two characters on opposite ends, certainly, that want the truly, completely selfish and arguably materialistic thing. So I'm going into my analysis mode where Puss. So we've got another chart, Austin. You put them on each side. Everybody else is in between. So Puss in Boots.
And the dog is somewhere in the middle.
The dog is in the middle. So I don't know if you can see this, but I got my sticky note. Here.
Yeah.
And I made a chart. The dog is in the middle. He's right in the middle. Yeah. I did exactly what you're saying. The dog's in the middle. So I called his name at the end, by the way. I knew they were going to do that. So.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's
quite a bit in this movie that I think is predictable, but I think it's just done well enough that, like, it's not an issue where I'm like, well, yeah, that's just what you do.
Way. Oh, and now we're introducing, I guess, reintroducing his Catwoman.
Yes.
That's another place where it feels more superhero to me than some other places where, like, she's a cat thief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like you said, his Catwoman or like an Elektra or something.
Yeah, well, and like specific Catwoman because she is a cat and she is a thief. I guess the big difference is he is also a thief sometimes? ? Doesn't that come up?
Yeah, he's kind of like a Robin Hood type thing with that.
That's what I was going to ask you, is if it was supposed to be like a Robin Hood thing. By the way, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to Super Chats yet. We'll do that in a second. I'll finish my pretentious analysis thing. So, Puss in Boots, he wants to get his 9 lives back. Purely selfish, purely isolated, totally alone. He's doing the loner thing, which is interesting because Kitty says that she is a loner and she's going her own way, but she is one of the two characters that actually wants to wish for family. And then on the other side, your foil for Puss in Boots is Horner, who wants absolute power. So he wants control of all the magic in the world. And it's interesting that they're the two characters that want something the closest together, even though that's not about family. But one of them ostensibly wants more lives so that he can keep being a hero, but it's really more about, again, reputation and fame and all. So like how far away is it really, because the hubris is there, from what Horner wants. But Horner just wants to control everything. And then you have Kitty, who wants who just wants someone in her life that she can trust, because she didn't have that with him. And then the most connected character to that is Goldilocks, who wants a human family. And so then right in the middle you have the dog, who doesn't want to wish for anything because he's just happy to be alive. And he's like silver lining, glass half full, with actually glass completely full with everything, to like an almost weirdly pathetic sort of degree, where like he's happy that he's not dead, and everything else is not just gravy, but like perfection. Like you give that guy a Sudoku puzzle, he thinks he's playing a Switch 2. Like that's that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Also with Horner, and this might be a reach, but I mean,
I guess so. Real quick, I guess my point is, it's all materialistic, even though half of it's family and half of it's not. And then the dog has the right idea because he's content with what he has.
Yes,
and that's the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And Horner can never have enough, which goes into my thing, which is
and so he keeps collecting stuff, and he's got all these amazing things, and none of it makes him happy. And the idea is the cat wants to live forever, but he's ultimately not going to be happy.
Yeah, exactly. But Horner is Disney. He's collecting all of the things, and he wants all of it. All of it will be his.
That's great.
And it's very much a Shrek thing. So, like, I feel like that is possibly intentional, but it might be reading into it too much.
No,
but
I don't think it is. Well, even if they weren't thinking it, it's not reading too much into it, because there's so much Disney in this already.
Yeah.
Because there's all the Pinocchio stuff too. Mm-hmm. So you've got your...
Like I said, that goes all the way back to Shrek. Like, that's part of just the DNA of this as a franchise.
Okay. Because you got your Conscience Cricket. He just broke the slipper from Cinderella, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, you get Jiminy Cricket, who's Jimmy Stewart.
That's pretty funny. And I like that because, like, I can't even call that a subtle pop culture reference, but kids and even young adults are going to have no idea that that's even a caricature. It's such an
it's
reference.
Like watching Looney Tunes and like not understanding that some of the voices are caricatures of things at the time.
No, that's okay. And then there's really no place where anybody comes right out and references anything pop culture-y. It runs up against it, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely.
By the way, the thing with the beard is also very Old Man Whoever. And that feels like it's making fun of that trope intentionally. Like, we do that with Wolverine also. More in The Wolverine than in Logan, but the Wolverine is already bumping up against Old Man Whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, like Luke Skywalker.
Oh, yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do this all the time, and that's kind of the uh, sorry, that's kind of the trope of that, right? Where that uh, is supposed to symbolize like how they've kind of lost themselves, like that character's lost himself, doesn't really know what his purpose is anymore, doesn't know who he is now, and then once he shaves it, he's on the path to self-discovery again. So we never wait to shave it until he's taken his opportunity for change. We always do it first, as a way to say he's proactive now. As a way to say he's not sitting around and letting life happen to him. He doesn't really know where he's going yet, but he's trying, and I think that's that's supposed to be the representation of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
I've
obviously
never thought to break that down, but I think we've done that a number of times in things in exactly that sequence.
Yeah, and then obviously him fully becoming who he is when he finally gets his sword back at the end.
Somebody in the comments earlier suggested that Horner in this is an intentional middle finger to Disney's stupid villains that must always be redeemed.
Yeah, possibly.
And I had that thought while I was watching this, but really more broadly, just in appreciating. It felt refreshing that we allowed a bad guy to just be straight up evil, like after all of your anti-heroes that are kind of more like heroes by the end, and after your Thanoses and all of that, that you're allowed to have a villain that is just reprehensible and cannot be redeemed, and then they make such a point of it, especially by having the cricket and the fact that is Disney. A Disney thing where it's like Disney telling the villain, no, there's goodness in you somewhere, right? And he's like, no, there's not, damn it.
What made me think, like, because Disney has so moved away from how they used to do villains, and it's why all their villains suck now. Because their villains used to be more like that, and they were all very memorable, and we've gotten away from it. So, like, it felt like an intentional jab to me, like, you've moved away from that, but like no, like this is good. Like this is like an actual like good villain.
Yeah.
By doing it how they used to, because especially like I feel like in like the last decade or like maybe even longer than that now, they've gotten to this point where it's like we got to make them more believable. So like even if they are just straight up bad, like we won't reveal that until like the third act, and by that point it's like you don't get to have any fun with them. So it's like all our villains are so underdeveloped now too.
They feel really obligatory, and they're having a lot of fun with Horner in this.
A lot of fun with Horner,
and
especially with Jiminy Cricket.
I like that initially it sort of comes from a place where you get a little bit of a sob story with him. He clearly has a inferiority complex, and then we even undermine that later on when it's like, well, I had parents that loved me, and I had all the money that I could ever want, and like I lived in a loving home, and all that pointless crap.
I love Jiminy Cricket's just like, oh gee.
And so you even with like so much, for lack of a better word, I guess, privilege, you could still maybe, if we wanted to try to humanize that guy, appreciate the fact that he is an outsider in like his looks. Like he's a small guy and people don't take him seriously, and all of that. Like you could see the outcast in it. But the movie intentionally subverts that and undercuts it and says, nah, he had every opportunity. And like I don't even believe that that's ultimately the reason that he does what he does. That I think it's more that he's really entitled and spoiled. And there's maybe even some commentary on like entitlement in young people and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also remember, this is a movie about contentedness, and so this is a guy that does not appreciate any of what he has.
Yeah, 'cause it's never good enough.
And so, okay, the one drawback he has is diminutive stature. Like, stop it. I think is what the movie is saying.
Yeah. Oh, thank God we don't see what it looks like when he touches the map.
I had that thought. Okay, I mentioned that the movie doesn't really go to straight up pop culture references. There is a Wizard of Oz one that I thought was a bridge too far.
Oh, and their little dog too.
Yes, I didn't need that. It kind of works as a line that the character wouldn't know they were quoting something, but
it's kind of cutesy.
Running up a little bit too far against
especially
that.
funny because when he leaves the doctors, the Wicked Witch of the West is one of the patients waiting.
See, that's weird because that's a book that is looking at fairy tales, but is not a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that I guess gets like grandfathered in, I guess.
The other thing I wanted to mention, just in this section we're in, is and like I get that they do a setup payoff thing with it. It's fine story wise structurally, but the like pet cute eyes thing never plays for me. And that's way too much of like a modern animation trope where I've seen that done 100, like Illumination does it constantly. I've seen that done too much. I never think it's funny. Like I get it, but it doesn't make me laugh. It doesn't do anything for me.
That's fair. That's like the one place where we're taking a joke from Shrek 2. We're like,
okay.
And that's a joke I think works better in that movie, but it's just kind of here because that's like a big thing people remember from that. Thankfully, there's not a lot of that.
No, but again, they do make it a big plot point at the end, so now it's sticking with me more.
I do like that it's at least a subversion, where it's like, oh, you think the dog's going to finally do it?
It doesn't work,
and then it doesn't work. So at least there's that.
I guess, but they've also established that villain as having ice water in his veins and like no compassion whatsoever. So there was no part of me that thought that was going to work.
Yeah, they're like, you think we're going to do this Deus Ex Machina?
Yeah, but in a weird way, they've already won me over too much to dupe me with that. But you know what? Yeah. At least at no point does this movie pretend like somebody's dead and I'm supposed to feel bad about it, and then they're immediately resurrected.
That's true. And you easily could have. We have death.
It doesn't do. Yeah, it doesn't do any of that.
You have death, and you have a wish that can do anything. You could have had him die, and then they wish for him to come back to life. You easily could have.
That is, I'm gonna get flack for this. That is one of the reasons I do not understand the massive love for an idea that this is a masterpiece for Paddington 2. Even Paddington 2 does that.
Oh,
and I'm like,
I've still never seen that.
Somebody requested it once. It's the only reason that I've seen it.
Oh.
And I don't mean to dog on that. It's fine. Like, I get why people like it. I don't get why people love that movie. Now, I will also say... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I've only seen the Wonka movie that guy made, and that movie was awful, but I haven't seen
I avoided that like the plague. I will...
It's not good.
I will never watch that if I can help it.
Yeah, don't. Hugh Grant shrunk down to be an Oompa Loompa is kind of amusing, but you can just Google image search it.
The entire movie, I thought Jack Horner was Billy Crystal, and I was shocked to discover that he was not.
Oh, interesting. John Mulaney is an actor I know like well enough, so he's got like a very recognizable voice. It's like kind of instantly I knew it was him. But I had that with Florence Pugh. The first time I watched this, I had no idea that's who that was.
Okay.
For Goldilocks.
Go back and listen to this up against Mike Wazowski, and it's shockingly close.
Yeah, I can kind of hear that.
I was surprised by the skeleton in this scene that
There's
it goes
a lot of
that
death
far.
in this movie.
Yeah, and like somehow it never goes too far where it's I don't know. I feel like there is a line it could have crossed, where it would seem I don't know, like too rough for children or too or like I know I say mean spirited a lot. I can't think of a better word, but like it's reveling too much in it.
Yeah.
And it's on the level of macabre humor that I really like. Like I really like morbid humor.
It's so over the top, like morbid. But like I don't know, Jiminy Cricket with his Jimmy Stewart voice being like, "You're losing a lot of men." It's really funny.
It's really funny. And I love how long it takes him to realize that.
Well, he's kind of like his own little character arc.
He does. No, that's true. The Phoenix is a flamethrower is an interesting and amusing image given the mortality themes.
Yeah. They have the death and resurrection. Especially Jiminy Cricket like says that when he pulls it out. He's like, "Oh, it's a symbol of resurrection and rebirth."
And like he's basically just like creating a perversion of what Puss is after, just like right there with the flamethrower.
Well, that's probably why we make a point when he falls into the office. He like immediately lands and catches onto the cage of the Phoenix.
Oh, I missed
That's probably
that.
why it's it's like the one object he interacts with.
Well, because I was going to say earlier, the other reason that he is such a great foil, that Horner is such a great foil for Puss, is that both of them, until, again, 2/3 of the way through the movie, both of them are lacking in regard for life in completely different ways. So Puss has an odd lack of appreciation and respect for his own life, because it doesn't even occur to him that he's not immortal and that anything will ever happen to him. And that's why death is after him, because he's not appreciating the natural order. And his foil in Horner has no regard for anyone else's life but him. And I've never seen exactly that before, where like the hero does have regard for other people's lives. He doesn't have to learn how to be compassionate. He compassionate to some degree. He's got to learn to be more compassionate about the woman that he's interested in, but that also furthers like his own life's richness, right? And so like in a weird way, the problem is not that he's not heroic. The problem is that he doesn't know how to live. It's like it's much more of, I don't know, it's almost like a hero's journey by way of mental health or something.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And obviously, like, that's a big thing we're kind of playing with.
Yeah, because it's much more of a... And, like, it's classic in its way, but if you look at it as a superhero movie... And again, like, the actual plot's not all that superhero, but if he is a superhero, and that's the lesson he's got to learn, it's much more personal and on a like, standard human level. It's a lesson that everybody's got to learn in some way or another. And so, like... If it's, I don't know, like it's deconstructing human condition as much as it is anything else. If it's deconstructing,
no, very like, true.
You know, I guess the deconstruction would be celebrity, like that's That's definitely a thing to get into this conversation.
Hmm.
Like, he's buying his own press. He's gotten too popular. And so
Yeah, it's almost
he thinks
like
he's too
what
big
we
to
kind
fail.
of do with.
And then he forgets
Yeah.
to live because it's just all about how people see him. And so it's again, the mental health thing. One of the biggest sources of depression is performance. Is people just living their life performatively. That's what he's doing. And then he doesn't show up at the church to get married. He's not living his life. I also like that there's a love story here because it's decent, and we, especially in this period, we were avoiding them too much, and so I just got to get that in there. I'm glad, and it's a fairy tale, so like we should allow some romance.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I like that moment too, where we have the flash of. I think it's when he's talking about, like I have all these parties and like I live a life of excess and all this stuff. And we cut back to like all the moments between where he's like at the camp all by himself and stuff like that.
Those
or, like,
flashes
he's at the
are
bar
great.
after everyone's left. Yeah.
No, and you're right. There is some tragedy in that. It's not as tragic as you saw your parents die in front of you, but I like that it's like typical cat tragic. I also like the line that it walks between anthropomorphized and straight up cat. And I like the absurdity of some of that, where it's in a world where humans just see cats as pets, even though they clearly can go off and be superheroes. But then also the cat can be making his own meal on a stovetop, and the crazy nutso elderly cat woman just, or cat lady, not cat woman, cat lady, just like sprays him with the water bottle. It's like, you should be floored that he can do this.
Stop doing that.
That woman is
That's my
insane.
I mean, she doesn't notice that there is a dog just dressed as a cat.
That too. Oh, I was gonna say that earlier. I think I finished this movie and said, okay, I'm gonna like this a lot better on a second viewing. Because obviously, like I said earlier, I appreciated characterization. A lot of thematic stuff resonated with me, particularly, like I said, the stuff about appreciating what you have already, and the different ways in which the hero and villain have disregard for life, that kinds of stuff. So like, I had a good experience with it, but I found this dog character obnoxious through most of the movie.
Yeah.
And then got to the end and realized how he fit into the narrative thematically, and went, okay, I'm gonna like this a lot better on a second viewing.
So I have that, like, I groan when they introduced this dog, and every single person I've talked to has been like, they introduced the dog, and I'm like, uh-oh, it's going to be the annoying character, and then you kind of realize where it's going, and it kind of wins you over. Yeah, I absolutely had that. At least to some degree. Like, obviously, I'm not saying, like, now you're like, oh, this is, like, my favorite character, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, I think we all just have that, like, guttural, like, oh, it's this stock character in every kid's movie.
Yeah, but I didn't expect him to be pivotal.
Yeah,
to the character
he's the heart
arc
of this movie.
Like, yeah,
I also like this moment, which is all done visually. There's not a joke where he comes in and he's like, look, I did my dream. I became a therapy doc. It's just, he just does it.
Well, as much as I like the movie I'm about to mention, I think it might have been the same year or maybe the year after, but Transformers 1 has that character. And then
with Bumblebee, really bad.
Yeah, but that's the more obligatory version where he's not as essential to the story in the way that this guy is. It's kind of more of just
he's just there for jokes.
Finding a comedic angle for that character that isn't just he doesn't talk, and B, to illustrate like some of the social hierarchy problems on Cybertron. So like his appearance there isn't pointless and bogus, but more irritating than this character because they don't find a way to endear me to him. Like he doesn't become three-dimensional in the way this character does.
Also, like,
this character
kind
is
of
Dobby the
thing.
house elf if I didn't want to murder him. I mean, literally,
He's even wearing a sock.
Literally, he's in his sock is his whole wardrobe. And weirdly, it's the opposite because the sock becomes his symbol of freedom, of life, of being able to continue on.
Yeah. Another kind of subversive thing, we tend to do the opposite way. When Puss there is telling the dog about, like, oh, you know, like, I left her at the altar and, like, I feel really bad. I wish I could take that back. And she walks by and hears him saying this. We tend to do that in reverse, where that's the moment where he says something that sounds bad out of context, and then that's your, like, second act, like, I'm going to walk away from you for a minute.
That's the small.
It's kind of interesting. We do it the other way. Well, and the first Shrek does that too. Like, a lot of kids' movies do that. It's kind of interesting to see it reversed, where that's a moment where she's, like, more endeared to him because she heard him say this thing that's really nice. And then
she's just waiting for him to be proactive and have a conversation with her about it, and she's very reasonable. Like, she needs him to take the first step because what she wants is to be able to trust him. And so if she brought it up and started trying to get that out of him, even though she's heard him say it already, it would not be the same as him proving to her how much he cares and feels bad for what happened before. Like, she needs him to take that step forward. And
yeah, exactly.
And I think their conversation about it, when he finally steps up and, like, gets past his nerves, and I like that, like, that's the kind of thing that he's most afraid of. Like, that's his real fear. There's a little bit of Tony Stark in this character. I was having that with especially, like, the panic attack and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But I think maybe the most well-written scene in the movie is that exchange.
Yeah, that is a really good scene between them. And
just the writer in me said, this is a scene they worked on a lot. Like, I was imagining multiple drafts of it. I was sitting there going, like, this is a refined scene. Like, it took them a while to crack it. I could be wrong. They might have gotten that first time out, but it read like a refined scene that took some work. I know there's a real script here. Again, I don't like all of it. There's jokes and stuff that I could take or leave, but the I don't know, the structure of the story is just excellent.
Yeah, just, you know, all the characters we have, and I think we're very well balanced with all of them. Like, all of that, I imagine, took a lot of refining.
Yeah, well, and it's you gotta. A story like this has to work on two levels, right? You're exploring ideas through several characters that serve as kind of mouthpieces for those ideas that serve to illustrate different aspects of an idea that you're exploring, and you also want them all to come alive and feel distinct, and most of them to be like three-dimensional and layered characters, and it's very difficult to do both of those things. Whereas, like, you have to represent something, and you have to be fully realized as a character. And I don't mean to say that every story has to do that. Some stories are about fully realized characters, where when you took a first pass at it, you were just telling an interesting story that's a character story about this guy, and then maybe you bring a thematic thing out of it, but that character didn't represent anything in the first place. This is a story that starts to some degree with maybe they found it as they went along. I don't know, but it reads like they went, okay, we're going to tell a story about mortality and its relationship to humility, and then here's all these different characters that are going to represent different aspects of that. And
yeah, I mean, I imagine that was probably exactly their starting point.
okay, we're more than an hour in, and I have not read any super chats yet. I'm so sorry, but Austin and I have been having
That's okay.
this,
There's
I
just
think,
a lot to say. Yeah.
very interesting conversation about this. Hopefully you guys agree. Teddy had a great comment before I even get to the super chats, and he just said she is a Catwoman. She is woman cat because she's a cat cap. She's woman cap.
She's a cat
or cat, not woman cap. That would be a female version of me, which I can't even picture.
And cat cap would be a cat version of you.
That's true. That's true. Amity Bloaf, $10 super chat. 2022, I saw two contrasting superhero films. Puss is one of the best films of the decade, with an immaculate script, immaculate with a capital E, and so much care put into the writing, and MOM is that Multiverse of Madness, where the script was written by an actual cat. I don't understand that.
That's great.
What?
I understand it's not a good script, which I mean,
you and I like that movie.
I like that movie a lot. A lot of it's just Sam Raimi. Like I think he kind of elevates that, but I can't argue. That movie's got issues, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I would probably say it's a sloppier exploration of ideas than this is.
Yeah,
you know, this is definitely a tighter script and maybe a little bit more thoughtful. And also, they were clearly allowed to take some time on it.
Yeah,
Multiverse of Madness.
Strange, you can clearly tell that the villain changes partway through, and there's things left over from when Nightmare was the villain.
Multiverse of Madness,
there's awkward stuff like that.
Like so many more recent Marvel films, like looks like a first draft because it's kind of a first draft. Or I should say,
I like that movie more for Sam Raimi.
It's a first draft in the sense that like a bunch of stuff changed at the 11th hour and they didn't have a chance to refine that, right? So like it's not a first draft, like, but it's not like a third or fourth pass at the same story. It's like
it's constant refining of just like I don't know, we gotta add this.
Yeah, or even just like replacing stuff, pivoting to other things, and then not refining that. Like that's not really how revision is supposed to work. Teddy, $20 super chat. Thanks so much for all the support tonight. He says, if you told me in 2011 that Puss in Boots 2 would have a completely different animation style and be one of the most loved animated films of 2022, I would have said, what are you doing? I'm 11, get out of here, weirdo.
That is true. But it is also just very strange, like
no,
just the fact that somebody got to like make a movie for like again the sequel to a spin-off to a sequel of a film. Like it's so weird. And obviously you can make anything work, but like it is just a thing where it's like as if it's this good. I don't know.
There's also literally only one shot in the entire movie that suggests to someone unfamiliar with the material, tell me if you agree with this, because you are familiar with the material, that suggests to anyone unfamiliar with the material that this is related to anything else and necessarily a sequel, and that is just the very end when they're on their way to the island. Because that just kind of like where Shrek is, because that sort of they don't even say anything about other characters, but the attitude of that scene is, you know where this is going, and if you've never seen any of this stuff, you would not know where that is going. That's the only shot like that in the entire movie.
Yeah, like you get a cameo of Gingerbread Man and Pinocchio, but it's so just innocuous that if you don't know that that's from Shrek, then you wouldn't know.
Well, it watches like just more fairy tale stuff.
More fairy tale stuff, exactly. And then the only thing we get of Shrek is in that first scene with Death when he's flashing through his lives. There's a recreation of the Lion King walking shot with him, Shrek and Donkey, which is really funny, but we don't linger on it. It's just, here are things in his life.
No, like, I showed this to some of my kids today, and they've never seen any of that stuff. They'd have no idea.
No, I think this is perfectly standalone.
Mikey knows what Shrek is for some reason. because he said his name when with the logo at the beginning. He goes, "Oh, it's Shrek," and I'm like, "How do you even know who Shrek is? We've never watched that."
Thank God he wasn't like, "Hey, look, Dad, it's Boss Baby."
I was going to say this earlier. When exactly? And I know there's been missteps and like Boss Baby looked horrible. I didn't bother to see that, but
Yeah.
and they had like Secret Life of Pets. Was that them or was that Illumination? No,
That's
maybe
Illumination.
That's Illumination. Because that felt like a thing DreamWorks would have made at one time. Probably differently.
Yeah.
But that looked like a DreamWorks sort of thing. And that also had the whole, like... I remember even in the advertising, they did the whole, "Oh, if pets are cute, they can get anything they want." I'm like, stop it. And we do it with babies, too, in a lot of movies. All these babies are so cute, they can get anything they want. This scene is such a good way to get to this kind of identity question of, is Puss at all the same person that he was through everything he's experienced so far in the movie? Is he and like he was when these deaths happened, and did he basically when he died 8 times, it's like 8 versions of him died, but they also they sort of play it like there have been 9 Puss in Boots. You know, kind of like if you know your DS9, it's like it's like 8 or 9 Wayuns. It's like every time a Wayun dies, they clone a new one, and there's a different character. But the difference with this is, he kind of, the other 8 really are the same person. Like they never learned anything, and so you just kept making the same mistake over and over again. And then this last one is like shockingly different now, and so. This is one of those rare cases where I actually can't pinpoint exactly the moment where he comes to the big epiphany. Like, he clearly takes his opportunity for change somewhere. He recognizes it in the cave. But his other 8 selves are unhappy with him because he has discovered humility. And so that happened before he walked in. So where exactly does it happen?
I think it's just being around that dog for so long. Like, I think
it's
kind of like what you have with Goldilocks and the Bears here, where it's like you insert this dog into these people's lives, and he's a therapy dog thing. He, makes you happier.
Well, especially by contrast. Like, when he explains his backstory, it makes everyone appreciate, their own lot in life a lot more.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
If he can be this happy in a damn sock.
He literally got, they tried to drown him.
They tried to drown him in the sock that he's wearing the whole... Like, I love how dark that is.
It's so dark.
But then, you show it to 4-year-olds, it goes right over their heads. Like, I had no qualms watching this with my youngest kids. Not my youngest, I mean, my 2-year-old didn't watch it, but she's not going to sit through a whole movie. But you know what I mean? Like some of my youngest kids, if you think about it for 5 seconds, some of that stuff is, like, insanely dark. But you know what else is great about how dark it goes? That's fairy tales.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly.
Teddy, $5 super chat.
It's un-Disneyifying it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's disarming because there are places where it feels like it's going to a very Disney place, and then it just kind of messes with you. And like it's a happy ending, but it's not too happy, if that makes any sense. Like, everybody gets what they want by realizing that, and this might sound like sappy and obvious, but they get what they want by realizing that they already have what they want. And nobody has, like, a perfect lot in life is the thing. I feel like the way Disney would do that is it would be like, well, you don't need, like, the fame and the riches because you already have this perfect life that you're just not realizing is perfect. And, like, none of these people have exactly perfect lives. And so, gets a lot of credibility to me in being about that idea that we should all appreciate what we have more than we do. Like we
Yes.
all have like valuable things in our lives, and I don't mean like stuff, although to some degree, you know, like I think that works with material stuff also, where we'll all want like the next great thing in our collections, or like you know, video games to play, or whatever it is, and then we'll kind of forget all the great stuff that we have already, and we won't bother with it, and then the new stuff doesn't ultimately make you happy. And so this, and I think it's really smart the way this does it with, in its way, material things and immaterial things. We're just kind of about.
Well, it's
both.
like the dog said, "You got to stop and smell the roses."
Does he say that?
Yeah, it's when they get to the flower thing. That's a moment where I think they're doing a good job of Puss and Kitty are very insincere, but the dog is sincere, and they can't get past the flowers because, you know, the flowers are attacking them, and you literally have to stop and smell the roses to pass by.
I did not
And
appreciate the. I feel like an idiot. I did not appreciate the thematic point of that.
It's okay.
That's great. That's great.
It's okay. And Puss and Kitty are like, this is stupid. Like, this is so dumb.
I remember
because
them
they're
saying
so
that.
cynical. But it's not like the MCU, like, oh my god, can you believe this is what we're doing thing? It's making fun of that, because the only way they can get through it is by sincerely doing it.
It's also being true to their characters in that moment, where they're like, why can't we just blow past this? And the point is, you've not been living. And again, that difference between like how long you're alive versus your quality of life. Sorry, what?
Yeah. No, they treat it like a puzzle to solve, where it's like, now we gotta fight our way through this. And then obviously Jack Horner comes in and just lights it all on fire.
It's a little smarter than I even appreciated it on one viewing. I love Death's revelation speech, where he says, "I'm not Death metaphorically. I'm Death straight up." That's some fine writing there.
It's so good. Also, I've seen. So I think there's like a deleted version.
It's kind of
the
obvious
sequence.
to me at the start, where I'm like, we're clearly watching. It's clearly like Ghost Rider or something, where it's like, that guy's the devil, like obviously.
Yeah.
But I had that same thought where like Constantine even kind of has this, where the devil character is not the main antagonist. Where like he's
true.
He's much more the device to prove to the hero how far he's come. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Imagine this wolf character played by Peter Stormare. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That'd be crazy. Imagine if just that devil appeared in this movie and was like, "Come on, Death, let's go have a drink."
The transitions in this movie are so freaking good.
They're so good. Yeah.
Well, like, you have the star, and then it's in the trees, and anyway. I'm sorry. I keep talking over you. There's so much stuff I want to...
No, it's okay.
There you go.
There's just a lot. No, I was going to say, there's a deleted version of that sequence where a Puss just takes the map and, like, leaves for the star, and they changed it for the better, where it's changed so that he's running from death, and then they see him running and just think that he's doing that, as opposed to just him doing that.
I really like the way we play around with the language in some of the fairy tales. The whole just right thing. They get a crazy amount of mileage out of that 200-word story.
We get like 8,000 just right jokes.
But not just jokes. Like that's a that's like a really important phrase for her
motif
character
for them. Yeah, no, that's very true too.
And honestly, looking back at this, in shots like that where she is realizing how much she's hurt the bear's feelings, I should expect her to have a redemptive arc. I really didn't. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're also jumping back and forth between quite a few subplots, and they're all interconnected. And obviously, we're all after the same MacGuffin. And the longer you watch, the more you're realizing that all of these arcs are thematically interconnected, and again, that we're exploring the same idea throughout them.
They're all roads going to the same destination.
Well, they're all going to Star Road from Mario World.
Yes, they are. Also, with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I love that they're like British.
Yes,
that's something that I think works for me really well.
Yep,
comedically.
I had the same thing.
There's so much of just like, "Oi, they're getting away."
So this is neither here nor there, but can I make kind of a weird visual point?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I can't even give this movie credit for this, since these are characters that predate this movie, that already existed. But I appreciate that we can have, I don't want to say realistic, obviously, because like this is like clearly real heightened, and again, we're doing that weird balance between anthropomorphized and regular cats. I like that we don't feel the need to try to make Kitty look like, or have like a human figure, like a human feminine
Lola
figure.
Bunny.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, she's not Lola Bunny. No, I very much appreciate that we don't do that.
Did you think of that too?
So I didn't think about that necessarily, but like I also very much agree with you, because I react to it more when I see it, where I'm like, oh, don't do that. I don't like that.
We have to go anatomical all the time. Where we got to give like female animal characters busts. Just to and give them like an hourglass figure. And you know me, I tend to overthink things, and like I don't want to get gross or anything, but it's always weird to me where it's like, but the character doesn't even have breasts. Like it's literally just a bust. Like why are you shaped like that?
One cat's actually have more than two as well, so like it's awkward.
Oh sure. But I'm thinking of stupid stuff like Ninja Turtles Next Mutation with Venus, where it's like, why are you shaped like that?
Yeah, no, that's a good example.
Like, it makes no sense that you have a chest. I don't understand this. Teddy, $5 super chat. The first movie wasn't. Did I read this already? I don't think I did.
The
first movie wasn't bad, but it was just okay, like a generic animated adventure flick.
Yeah, that's about what I've heard. I probably like oversold it, but yeah, I've just heard it's kind of nothing.
That was weird.
I'm gonna wear it.
I'm gonna wear
weird.
Clothes.
Why did you say that? Also, when I got to this section today, I was thinking, this is what Thor 4 should have been, with like the Adventure to Eternity and all that stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, in what way? Like, what would you have done with it in that movie?
Well, I think just like having this like grand cosmic adventure to eternity, kind of like this does, and then
as
also
opposed to having your climax in just a big warehouse or wherever the hell they were.
Yeah, and like that cave or whatever. But yeah, and then like having like an actual thing here, like with Eternity, where like everybody wants something else from Eternity. I don't know,
something like that. Yeah, you got.
I mean, Eternity should have been in a Doctor Strange movie, but still, if you were going to do it in Thor,
well, that movie. So I'm going to compare them in this way. That movie is weirdly cosmic for how not cosmic it is, and this movie is weirdly not cosmic for how cosmic it is. If that makes any sense at all.
Sure. Yeah. Well, this movie's also like imaginative.
Gee, I wonder what the dog's name is going to be at the end of the movie. He keeps calling him Burrito over and over again. The first time I heard it, I thought his name was Burrito. I'm not going to lie.
I learned today that
why do you keep calling this dog Burrito? Burrito. I'm like, why are you calling him that? I love the ominous whistling. That's awesome. That's a thing that Grim Reaper characters should always do, is have some sort of signature like creepy sound they make when they come in. That seems kind of disarming at first, and then is like really creepy and sticks with you. It's great.
Yeah. That's another great image is when he like holds the sickle, and it's got his 8 lives X'd out, and he's in the middle of the sickle.
Oh, I didn't catch the 8 lives part.
So many great visual choices, and obviously this fight is going to end up being a reversal visually of their first fight, where we're going to flip a lot of the stuff from it.
You know what Mikey said watching this with me, and I thought it was kind of insightful. For those of you guys that don't know, Mikey's my 7-year-old, and he's gotten massively into comics lately. He's been building his own collection. He's got his own collection of 400 comics now, and he's been reading a lot. And we were watching this, and Mikey just kept commenting on how to him. And I get that they're going for more of a storybook quality. He said he thought this felt like reading a comic book, and he just kept saying it. He was like, Dad, I could see this in a comic book, like on the page.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes sense. I mean, especially because obviously they're going more for the fairy tale thing, so that's what they're thinking of. But it's still a lot of that, just the keyframe shots, right?
And I said that because you reminded me of that when you mentioned the sickle shot, because I'm like, that's like a full page spread, or like the top of half a page, or
it
was like a really important image.
If it's Hayden Sherman, the sickle is the border of the panel.
Yes, absolutely. Michael Martin, $5 super chat. Thanks very much. If I recall, Death lets him live because he respects him now. He can't respect life without also respecting death.
Yeah, well, I really like, too, that it's specifically you can't be beaten, I can't cheat death, and eventually we will see each other again. Like, I really like how all that's handled.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about his noun-verb agreement here when he says him respecting him now. I'm not sure who he's talking about, but the idea is...
Oh, death respects Puss.
Okay, because the idea, the way I was reading it is that actually the reverse of that, where Puss actually respects life and in his way death too much now for death to keep coming after him.
Well, it's his, like, it is exactly that, which is why death now respects him. Because death is like, cats are a perversion of nature, they shouldn't, like, 9 lives is, against that.
But see, it doesn't... It doesn't watch to me like respect so much as disappointment, where like I had this excuse to go after you, and now I can't do that anymore because you actually respect life. And
it's disappointment in the sense that he was like fully ready to kill this guy who didn't appreciate it. He was having fun with that, and then now that death respects that, he's like, well, you've learned to respect it, so. Like, we've come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see that in you.
You used to be arrogant. I don't see that in you anymore.
Yeah. So, like, there is a mutual respect there.
Live your life, live it well. Like, that's the crux of the whole narrative.
Yeah.
Like, he's not been actually living.
Mm-hmm.
And so death shows up and says, well, fine, I'll kill you. You don't realize that's what you want, but it's kind of what you want. Like, you don't actually want that. But you're not actually living your life, you're just extending it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also
an
like
image
that he had. Sorry, I also like that Death just has this sort of animosity toward cats because they have this loophole. He's like, cats are stupid. They get 9. That's not fair. Like they're freaking Bubsy, man. They get to play their video game with all these
like
lives.
Death from Conquer.
Say that again.
In that way, he's like Death from Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
I've never played that.
Oh, Death is awesome in that game.
But see, they gave Bubsy 9 lives, and when I was a kid, I thought it was because he was cute because he's a cat, so he gets 9 lives. It's really because the game is unfairly hard.
Yeah.
And so you need you need that many, because you're gonna have all these leaps of faith.
In Conquer, you don't start out with lives, and then when you die for the first time, you go and meet the Grim Reaper, and he explains the life system to you, and he's like, you stupid cats. And he's like, I'm a squirrel, not a cat.
I saw
Pretty
some
great.
discourse, Reddit or something, where people were trying to nail down this title, and they were like, in the story, what is the actual last wish? And I'm like, even I'm not gonna overthink this title. Like, because the idea is, Puss thinks he needs this wish to extend his life, and then ultimately he's content with what he has and doesn't want more lives. And everybody else comes to that except for Horner, who's defeated at the end. So like, it's just there's one more left, and somebody can get it, and then everybody that's left is happy enough that nobody uses it. Like, that's all it is. So like, there's not a wish that's made. So like, all the last wish is what everybody is after.
Yeah, it's that, and obviously, like, death is after him, so like, it's his last chance to get out of that as well, is what he thinks it's gonna be.
I always like the idea in things like this that the universe is like almost kind of cruel, Austin, and like creates these sorts of devices because it knows that it's bad for any human being to have this much power. And so like, if like somebody's either gonna have the like horrible Greek mythology tragedy thing, like a Pandora's box or something, or they're going to learn the right lesson from it and go, oh, I don't actually want this after all. And so it sometimes feels like these kinds of situations, these kind of supernatural things, are set up by some kind of celestial being to lead to the person not actually wanting it by the end. Like, that's the whole point.
That was very Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
especially Jack Warner's death is very that. And I like that Jiminy Cricket gets to deliver the final hit.
Apologies for not responding as much to regular comments tonight. There's been a little bit of complaint about that, apparently. But
like Amity Bluff said, there was so much to talk about.
There's so much to talk about, yeah. And we can go back and hit some of these too. We haven't had actually a whole lot of chatting here anyway. Or to
I also want to talk about ethical business practices.
That was an excellent Jimmy Stewart impression you just did.
Thank you.
RJ Godzilla, you see what happens when you have talented people who, pardon me, have the time, the freedom, the budget, but mostly the talent, who care about the story they're telling, and you let them make something great. Yeah, Disney. It's like...
Yeah, and just...
It's everything I've been saying about Marvel lately, which is hilarious when Disney is their parent company.
What's also important to note is this also had like a slashed budget compared to the first one, and like compared to other things coming out around the same time. Like this only has an $80 million budget compared to like
it's all on screen.
I think the Pixar film at the same time, I think it was that Strange Worlds movie, and that had 180 million.
And nobody saw that.
No.
Well, I was going to say this earlier.
Nobody remembers it happened.
So earlier, I started making this point when I said there's still been some misses recently with DreamWorks, but I was going to say, at what point did DreamWorks take Pixar's spot? Because I feel like that's kind of where we're at now. Like yes, they will occasionally put out some duds, but the only company that is putting out movies that are anywhere in the thoughtful and inspired storytelling realm that Pixar used to be known for is this company. They're the only ones that get close.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's more hit or miss, but like, I would say they like really hit their like big stride with like Kung Fu Panda, and I haven't seen it, but the Dragon one, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
People really like that kind of stuff. Like that was really, I think, when they hit their kind of golden age.
But even those, I didn't feel like hit the heights of story sophistication that Pixar did early on. This gets a lot closer, and Wild Robot is right there.
Yeah,
it's
I think again, I haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon, but I think Kung Fu Panda does. But
I saw that once, and I didn't see it. Like, I liked that movie. I didn't think it got quite at a Toy Story or a WALL-E or those kinds of places. Personally,
yeah, I mean, I like it more than like a lot of Pixar movies, but like, fair enough. But yeah, in terms of just overall, when they hit that point, yeah, I guess it kind of depends, but they're putting out interesting stuff now, which is cool.
Yeah, this is pretty kind of subjective conversation, obviously.
Yeah, well, like you
said,
because
I clearly have a higher regard for early Pixar than you do.
100%, yeah. When I also have like a higher regard for DreamWorks, I think just in general. But
you clearly have more of a high regard for them than I do. I'm very much in that.
Yeah.
Majority camp of Pixar was like 3-4 rungs above them for a long time. On first viewing, I would have said I don't know if I like this movie even as well as the best Pixar movies I've seen recently. Talking about it with you and looking at it a second time, admittedly we talked over it the whole time. I think this probably is as good or better than those actually. Now that we're talking about it, because I was going to say things like Soul, which I liked quite a bit, and like what was that fantasy movie they did? I can never remember the name of that thing.
Oh, Onward.
Onward, yeah, I like that a lot too.
Yeah, and I haven't seen all of them, and I like Soul, but I think it like stumbles for me at the end. So, like, I do think this is a lot better than it. But like, I think this is easily better than anything they've made since like their kind of golden age. But I'd have to like really like think and look at them to be like, okay, where is the point where I'm like, because I also have the thing where I think Pixar falls off before you do, as well.
Yeah, that's fair. And a lot of people feel like that. Another thing that this movie has that Lego Batman movie doesn't is just Banderas' voice, and like he just never gets irritating. It's so smooth and again, like when he's arrogant, it's an arrogant character that earns it to some degree, and you just never get tired of listening to that. It's so there's almost a musicality to it. It's so smooth.
Yeah, this and then Indiana Jones 5 is a big, like, oh man, I forgot that I really like Antonio Banderas, because I feel like he doesn't get to do a lot of cool stuff now. At least not that I've seen. So it's like, it was like a big, like, oh yeah, like, when you get to, like, do your thing, you're really fun. And I hate Indiana Jones 5, but there's like a moment in that movie where it has a heartbeat when he pops in for like 5 minutes.
I didn't know he was even in that.
Yeah, he's in it for like 5 minutes.
I'll never see that. You can't make.
And then we never mention him again, but
you can't.
He's really fun in it. And then he's great in this. Like, I like Antonio Banderas. He's a good actor.
Daniverse. The other thing is that DreamWorks stopped being so celebrity advertised. We're far past the point of Shark Tale. Yeah, and Illumination took that baton hard, and they've never lost it, and they'll never lose it.
Well, I think because like we've talked about this before, like they're also like this, but Illumination's the worst for it, where it's like just stunt casting. Like this movie is like filled to the brim with celebrities. They're all just really well cast, though, so you're not really thinking about it.
Yes, but I think the important word in that sentence was advertised. We're like
Fair enough. It doesn't have like 8 billion people.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the trailers for this, so I don't for this movie, so I don't remember them if I did, so I don't have any. Yeah. No, I must have, but I don't remember, so I don't have any dog in this. But Illumination always jumps out at me as doing the DreamWorks thing from 20 years ago, where they put the big names up front, and like they almost want you to notice that more than even the premise of the movie. And so you're right, like all of these companies cast the big names now, but there's an emphasis with some of them much more so in the advertising.
Yeah, or just
he's right about that.
Not being able to cast them correctly.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
Where no, I don't mind. I mean, it's disappointing to me that there's not more of an AI notwithstanding, that there's not the pool of talent that you used to have. More like career voice actors where that's all they do, and that you have a lot more celebrities because it's easier to sell it. But in the actual individual piece, as long as they're right for the part and actually know how to act behind a microphone,
yeah,
and everybody in this has that. And in fact, nobody jumped out at me watching this afternoon. I deliberately didn't look at a cast list. I went, I'm just going to let this wash over me, and I try to get with the characters. And I wasn't even thinking about Banderas. And then I got to the end, of course that's who that is, but like, yeah. Nobody jumped out at me. It felt like a real voice cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's completely fair.
Well, I say nobody. The one that jumped out at me, I was wrong about. Because I thought Horner was Billy Crystal, but he wasn't.
Well, like I said, the first time I watched this, I got to the credits and I was like, "Wait, that was Florence Pugh? What?" And like now I can hear it, but like,
yeah.
That went over my head.
Pros and cons guy, $5 super chat. I like how the wolf. I didn't know who that was either. I like how the wolf had to tell Puss he's not speaking metaphorically or any other fancy way that he is really deaf. Yeah, I pointed that out too. I love that moment. And again, there are several places where kind of obvious things happen. Where like, if you've ever seen a movie before, you're probably gonna call it. Like, I doubt anybody is. Especially when the guy's got a sickle, and the fact that he can just come out of nowhere, and some people don't even seem to notice him when your protagonist does. Like, nobody is shocked. I'm dead. Really?
Yeah, and he's not on the map either. Because on the map it has little icons for everybody.
No, that's one of those, like, I feel like this movie, I don't want to say that it's getting away with breaking rules, but it's doing stuff in enough of a sophisticated way that I usually am irritated at because I see it done poorly and too often. But that's a case where I'm both expecting what happens and buying it as a reveal for the protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Like, when they're clever about how they write that first scene,
he doesn't know it.
Yeah. No, and they're clever about how they write the first scene, where a lot of their lines are double entendre lines, where it could be death or it could be just a bounty hunter, and how they're speaking to each other.
Well, you know what doesn't help either?
What's that?
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, but because I didn't know anything about this movie, and then you told me about death, and so I walked in. Not just expecting death, but thinking that was the villain. Like, he has a lot less screen time than I was expecting, the way that you described him.
Yeah. Well, when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, I forgot that it was like a reveal. Like, I hope I wasn't like an asshole about it.
No,
that was the thing I walked in knowing.
I'm just giving you crap.
It's Puss and Boots versus Death.
Yeah.
Because when this came out, everybody was talking about that. Like, it. I can see it being like unbearable for people.
That's the exciting premise. Like, that's what would get me to watch this. Again, nothing about that title does anything to make me want to watch this movie. It's like The Last Wish. I don't know. Like, that sounds like a bad Broadway musical. Like, I don't want to watch that.
Cap, I know you hate Shrek, but do you want to see the spin-off to Shrek 2, the sequel to that spin-off? Called The Last Wish?
No.
Oh, okay.
Literally the only thing that could have gotten me to watch this is the fact that it's technically superhero and we had to do it on the show. I never would have watched this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm glad I did. I mean, I liked it a lot, but even the word of mouth wouldn't have done it for me. Where it's like,
Yeah.
like why do I need to see that? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that makes sense.
Like really impressive word of mouth. Like it's so well executed that it was a sleeper success. It made like I think it was the 10th highest grossing movie that year. It did 400 against an $80 million budget. It was not expected to do as well as it did, and that's all word of mouth. Because like I said, that title's doing it no favors, and the advertising, I'm sure they did the best they could with it. Like the only thing I remember from the trailers is that the animation looked good. I do remember that.
That's all I remember from trailers as well, is just being like, oh, they like Spider-Versed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which really works for those.
Yeah, it's a great looking movie, and like obviously it's taking inspiration from that, but like I don't think it's just that. I mean, the main thing is that I can actually watch it, as opposed to Spider-Verse, where like that messes with my eyes, and I don't have that with this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was kind of surprised. I got 5 minutes in and I was like, oh, there's a lot of Spider-Verse in this animation, but like the whole thing isn't that. But also, it can't just be dropped lower frame rate because you don't have that problem with Lego movies. Like you're able to watch those. And those have that lower
like the trailer for
that
that new Ninja Turtles, which is obviously going for a similar style as well. Like that doesn't affect me, but for whatever reason, just the way Spider-Verse is put together, like I just can't handle it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not sure why. There must be like some sort of like just how like the frame rate is maybe, and just like how the designs are, the backgrounds. Maybe just like you put it all together.
Some combination.
And it's like some combination.
And I will say, I've not met another person that can't watch those. Like, I've not had that with anybody else.
Yeah. No, it's so weird.
And I'm not giving you crap about it. I get motion sickness from stuff. Like, I believe
it's like the '89 products. It's like they put it together the exact right products, and now it makes me laugh hysterically.
Yeah, like Hairspray won't do it alone.
Exactly. Yeah, the low frame rate won't do it alone.
Pros and cons guy, $2 super chat. How is it superhero? Well, we talked about this at the beginning. If you missed it, but like I suggested, and I will say we were picking up a lot more, at least tangentially, like superhero tropes or things that felt like they, even if they weren't intended to be, could be satire of. Especially more recent superhero stuff, like the Wolverine and Logan of it all. But we even noticed some other stuff with it. But the primary thing is just he's Zorro, and then and like he is a superhero even if the story itself is not really a superhero story. But his character arc has enough to do with being a superhero also. Because
like
he's got to find that hero life balance.
Yeah, exactly. And like obviously Shrek wouldn't count because he's just like a side character.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, and also he is a superhero that it kind of explores like motivation for doing that to some degree, where he's the superhero that does it for the fame. But what were you saying about being a side character?
No, I was just saying, and then obviously like Shrek wouldn't count just because he's in it, because he's just like a side character. Like it's not really fitting into that mold. It's just they just threw in Zorro as like a side character, and then he spins off, and they just go, "Oh, he's Zorro. Let's just make Zorro movies."
It helps that there's still that spaghetti western quality to this. Not that every spaghetti western is superhero, but that is the prime genre that Zorro would be in. It helps that this isn't just doing the fairy tale thing, but it's also a blend of those things. So again, I don't think this counts as well as some other things, but it's close enough. Like the story itself is not by itself exactly a superhero story.
No, it's the type of thing where you're like tweaking the definition a little bit. Same with doing something like a Sin City or something. But like I think it's worth it because like there's enough of an argument to be made where I'm like, I can definitely see it.
Well,
Which
this
is
is one of
why I
those
put
things
them on the
where,
list in the first place.
yeah, this is one of those things where I just had to go on what other people were saying about it because I hadn't seen it.
And I think there were people that fought me on it when we did our list, where we were like, "This is the stuff on," or when we did the video where it was like, "This is the stuff on the list," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Puss in Boots.
I think
That
people,
counts."
I think people fought you when you put it on your top 100.
Possibly, possibly.
There might have been some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it counts. I think it counts actually more than a Sin City does. That's almost
that is more so just comic
style.
book, like it. Yeah.
It's a lot more style. This still has some Joseph Campbell in it. Like there is certainly the hero's journey, like kind of descent into hell, coming back thing, that is pretty relevant to the superhero genre. Not that every time that happens is in a superhero movie either. Like I still
we
say,
also established he's just like going to town helping people. Like it's like you have that kind of superhero aspect to the character.
Yeah. Again, like it's like if you establish a character whose occupation is superhero, but the story is not about that character saving the world or helping people, does it still count for this show? And we could come up with examples where we've done it.
Yeah. Like OK Great says, it counts more than Donnie Darko.
I agree.
So we're good.
Isn't that that should be the litmus test, by the way. Like if Donnie Darko counts, what else counts? That gets dangerous too. I'll never understand.
Real dangerous.
I'll never understand why that's a superhero movie. But even the people that made it think it is, and I'm like, I think if research, and I'm like, I don't understand that.
Well, I watched it for the top 100, and I watched it with John, and I was like, I don't understand how this is a superhero movie. And John was like, neither do I. And I'm like, okay, well, surely Cap does. So then I messaged Cap, I'm like, okay, why is this a superhero movie? You're going to have to explain it to me. And Cap just goes, I don't know.
What? Have you ever seen my rewind on it?
Like a long time ago, so I don't remember it.
Because I did a rewind unscripted on it. I took buku notes, and I spent probably 10 or 15 minutes on. It's not really a superhero. I don't know. I'm doing my best. Like,
yeah.
It was hard to review it in that mold even because it's not really. Maybe the director's cut gave me a little bit more fodder for it. I don't think so though. I don't remember now. It's been so long. That was a headache to review. I like a lot of things about that movie. That is a weird movie to try to talk about.
Donnie Darko goes back and like kills himself or whatever at the end of that, and then we cut to a bar and somebody's like, "Oh man, that guy just went back in time and killed himself." That reminds me of that guy in that wheelchair. What's his name again?
Alex Darren. I'll try not to spend too much more time on this topic, but I have one more thing I want to say after I read this comment. He says, I definitely wouldn't have considered this a superhero movie, but it's really good, and I'm glad you're covering it, so I don't care. Let me ask you this question. If there was a movie about Zorro, because I think we can all agree that Zorro counts. Now, if you don't think Zorro counts as a superhero, then this argument holds no water, and this movie shouldn't count either. But if Zorro is a superhero, and there's a movie where he puts on the costume and does a heroic thing in the opening scene, and then the rest of the movie is him, like, running a Waffle House or something, does it still count for the show? I think it does, because it's about Zorro, and Zorro is the character, and he's a superhero. That's his occupation, even if the movie is not as much about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, you know, in that argument, you know, you have something like The Specials, where like you're not watching them be superheroes.
The Specials was an example I almost brought up earlier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get things like.
Well, I was thinking of Aquaman as well, where it's like, Aquaman, the movie is also like, well, he is a superhero, but the story is he goes off on this kind of Indiana Jonesy adventure, which is what this is. Yeah. So it's like you have that kind of element too.
But yeah, there's a lot of those actually.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to mini reviews and quick plug for Patreon.
I only have one.
I have a couple.
I've got two.
Patreon.com/pollution. The $5 tier lets you put in a mini review for each of these. We'll read it on air, put in 2 to 3 sentences, and a rating in our goofy rating scale. Daniel Davis says, one of the most pleasant surprises in recent years. Who would have thought that a sequel to Puss in Boots would be so great? A movie that is as thoughtful as it is funny. It succeeds in the same way that many of favorite animated movies do. Legend. We got a legend already, Austin.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great. I have always counted Dick Tracy, but I think it's real borderline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that. Like, I think Inspector Gadget counts.
And
That's
I've
also
never
like,
thought it did, but I see the argument for it.
yeah. That's mainly just because of RoboCop. But
it gets very arbitrary at some point, dude.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna get back into this argument again, but it is not the same reason for RoboCop in my mind.
I'm just gonna add it to the list. No.
he would have to go rogue and leave the agency he's in.
He probably does. I don't remember those movies. I don't want to watch them. He probably does.
That's the difference with something like this, is like, even if you just want to make the excuse to do it. But Inspector Gadget, people are like, why are you wasting my time?
That's a good, just original Inspector Gadget voice.
Move the glow.
Move the glow.
Austin, would you kindly give us one of these mini reviews? Thank you.
From Abic Stark, he says, a shockingly good film with a touching message and finale. Everyone turns in a great performance, and the animation is absolutely amazing. I sincerely hope we I sincerely hope we get to see more animators and studios take more risks and change up the style. Rating superhero.
Yeah, this has kind of a timeless quality to it, which is why some of the humor frustrates me, because that locks it too much into a time period for me. But
yeah,
just again, I don't mean to repeat myself too much, but the overall way the story is handled, it's like, oh, we don't make movies like this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it scratches some of my itch of we don't make good adventure films anymore.
Yeah,
just even outside of animation.
That's a good point, and that's a major genre for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, give me a second here.
No, you're okay.
Bag Studios. My only complaint when I saw this in theaters was of its slightly generic villain performance. And frankly, it was a minor complaint. As someone who never liked any of the Shrek movies very much, I was completely floored by how great of a family film this was, with such strong themes. Doesn't feel like it's talking down or taking easy shortcuts superhero. Well, he just gave my review.
Yeah.
That's
I'm so sad he thinks John Mulaney is Jack Horner's generic. He's so good in this.
Yeah, I think he's really good too.
I guess. Across the Spider-Verse is the next year, isn't it? Because this is 2022, and I think it's 2023. I was going to say you'd be in both around the same time because he's Spider-Ham.
Oh, I forgot about that. That director almost did this movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I wonder if there's probably a lot of people that like kind of went on and off this with how long it was in development for.
Yeah, but he left it really shortly before it was made, I think. Like he was he almost made this. And I think it's interesting that they point to those, or at least that first movie, as such an inspiration for this. And then they almost got the guy that made it.
Yeah. That is interesting. I wonder if maybe that like brings in some of those elements, and then he leaves, and then they go, "Oh, this is kind of cool. Like, let's build off this." From Grimm, he says, "Ignoring the continuity error, the mama bear died in Shrek 1 in this film."
Well, then,
this movie sucks. Nemesis. The movie was a tad overstuffed, with Puss's party. Was a rehash of the party from Shrek 1, and the dog was more annoying than lovable. However, when looking at the sum of its parts, there are a lot of really well executed ideas. Jack Horner is deliciously evil, and death is horrifying for a modern children's movie. There's a great theme on respecting and appreciating life, and is explored in a meaningful way. 8 out of 10.
That is true. It is true that he gave it an 8 out of 10. No, that is true. Joe Turner. I had one more, it turns out. Heartfelt, visually stunning, and hilarious. You can enjoy this without even knowing what Shrek is. Thank goodness, I say. Or watching the first Puss in Boots, a brilliant family film. Complaints? I have none. Legend. Wow.
Oh my god!
Did you have any more?
No, I only had those two.
Okay.
And Manu YouTube's, he asks if I'm going to be replaced by Patton Oswalt for the Spider-Verse films for Rewind.
That's a big negatory.
Oh, okay.
That's a big negatory. We avoid Patton Oswalt at all costs here on Superhero Rewind. And now, I'm kidding. I'm just tired.
We're gonna have to see him for Eternals.
I'm just tired of him being in my everything. Who the hell is he in Eternals?
He's in the post-credit scene. He's Pip the Troll in the worst-looking CGI I've ever seen.
Why is he in everything? Okay, Austin, why don't you start, since this is a movie that you were more familiar with than me, and I usually make you start anyway. What is your rating for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
So I'm going to give this a legend. I think this movie is genuinely really great. Like I said, it scratches a lot of my personal itches, and I wouldn't say it's entirely perfect. Like, there's a couple of things. Like you said, I agree with some of the comedy. I don't think it always works, but for the most part, I think it's a funny movie. I think it's beautifully animated. I think all the performances are fantastic. I love all the characters. I love just how balanced it is too. In giving all the characters their own arcs and whatnot, and just really fleshing them all out, while also, like you said, being mouthpieces for ideas and the themes that it wants to present. And I think it's just one of the best. I would say at this point it's probably my favorite animated film of the 2020s at the very least, and probably like a little bit into the 2010s, so like going backwards. It's really well done. I like it a lot, and yeah.
Well, and I've avoided so many animated movies from this period that it's not fair for me to even say that. Like, there's probably some good stuff. Have you seen The Bad Guys? I didn't bother with that.
I do need to see The Bad Guys, and I need to see Wild Robot, to be fair.
Yeah, Wild Robot.
There's definitely stuff that I need to see. But, like, in terms of what I have seen...
I thought the Bad Guys looked really visually distinct and interesting. The sequel, the way they advertised it anyway, looked really obligatory to me. And
yeah, I think I heard it just kind of was like, it's fine. Let's look more of this.
Kind of an Incredibles 2 sort of thing, where it's like, well, that didn't need to get made.
At least it didn't take a decade, though.
Longer than that.
Oh, at least we're getting Incredibles 3.
This is a movie that I was simultaneously, while watching, I didn't say this during the commentary, impressed with and slightly underwhelmed by. Where people talked this up too much for me, and I came in expecting a little bit more sophistication in some of the comedy, and it kind of dragged in the center for me on first viewing. And I went, I kind of wish I had time to give this another watch, because once I saw how it all came together, I realized that I started to get why people liked it as well as they did. Although it didn't it didn't blow me away as a viewing experience. But then the more I thought about it and the more we talked about it, I was more impressed with the story it was telling, right? And so, as I thought, as predicted in my own brain anyway, I was more impressed with it looking at it again, even though I can't really call that a honest to God second viewing. I'm feeling like, and I'm not saying that I'm gonna ultimately think this is as good as the movie I'm about to mention, but I might have something of a Winter Soldier thing with this movie, where like the longer I live with it and talk about it and analyze it, the more I appreciate it. Winter Soldier would not have gotten a legend the first time I saw it, and it's I think the best thing MCU has ever done. So where I'm sitting right now, I don't feel like I can quite go that high. I'm close. But I'm at a.
I expected to be higher than you. So.
I am at a superhero with this. But it is definitely a lot better than I was giving it credit for as I was watching it. And then even like I said earlier, by the end on my first viewing, I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. Like, but I had to see where all the roads were going before I could appreciate the irritating dog, sock character. And
that'll be the spin-off, is Dog in a Sock.
Even Jack Horner, I respected, okay, just straight up evil for the sake of evil, but he even seemed a little bit too one note to me until I realized the ways in which he's a foil for the main character.
That's
boy,
fair.
that character arc is so well handled and again sophisticated with Puss in Boots, and like there are. It's also impressive. I should note that there are several good character arcs for different characters without taking anything away from the protagonist. Like he never gets lost in the shuffle. It doesn't become somebody else's movie. It doesn't have to degenerate into a team movie when it's supposed to be a singular character piece. Like it still is that. It feels like everybody is still thematically serving the protagonist in their way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll also say too, like I had probably the best way of watching this the first time I watched it, and I did like it more on a second time. Like I do think there's a lot more to pick up on, but when I first watched it, it was as a double feature with Mask of Zorro, which I had never seen either. I watched them both for the first time together. So they were like companion pieces where it's like, oh, here's the sequel.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, this is so great.
that is the way to do that. That's cool. Now, I couldn't put this over Mask of Zorro.
No. I agree.
But for an animated cat version, it's pretty that watches like old man Zorro. It's pretty good.
It's a great sequel to Mask of Zorro. But Mask of Zorro is better.
Okay, so you went legend, I went superhero. Let's see how that's reflected in our rankings. And I'm going to start with your list since you went first. Okay, so you have Mask of Zorro ranked at 5. And you have this movie ranked at 8. So they are actually still pretty close together. You put Darkman just above it. You put it above Mystery Men, and it is hard for things to crack past Mystery Men for you. I don't know what it is with you in that movie.
So
did you agonize?
Puss in Boots down to probably. Actually, now that I'm saying that, I could even extend it a little further. There's a couple films like under it where I'm like, these could switch and like go back and forth, but it is hard to crack Mystery Men for me. I love Mystery Men.
Yeah, like, I would have a hard time putting this over Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I could definitely see putting that over it. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's tough.
Like I said, I could easily flip these. I don't know. I like all of them but equally.
So
even Punisher Warzone.
Keep in mind, and as we've said before, I don't know how consistent I am with the rankings versus the ratings. But considering that I didn't go all the way to Legend with this, and obviously I don't decide my rating exactly until we get to it, but I didn't think I would probably go Legend. I didn't get, now I will say, while we were talking at the end here, I did move it up a bit. And that's my prerogative because we gave it another watch, and I was appreciating it even more. So I had it even lower than this, but where I have it right now is still quite a bit lower than you've got it. I have
We
it.
both have it next to Darkman, though.
Yeah, it's so weird. I have it at 17 on my list. I have it just under Spider-Man 2, and I have it just over Darkman, and you had Darkman over it. And I felt weird about that. I wasn't even sure how I felt about that. But I'm looking at the movies above it, and I'm like, I don't know if I can go over Blade. Like, that's tough.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I think you have it at a respectable spot.
Before,
I can even see it being under Darkman.
I may move it under Darkman, to be honest with you. Before we did our watch on it, I had it all the way down at like 29 or 30.
Oh, okay.
And then found myself shooting it way up.
I was going to say, I feel like in our conversation, it probably went up from a hero to a superhero. But I could be wrong. Like, that's just the sense I kind of get.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah. First time out, or watching it this afternoon, I was definitely oscillating between hero and superhero.
Yeah, or at least, yeah, in that kind of area.
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Well, I'm glad I finally saw it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's a fun movie.
It's nice to see something like that distinct and relatively original 3 years ago.
Mm.
That's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Austin, would you kindly reveal what we're doing next time? We'll be off next week. And actually, last time I announced we would be off the next week, and then we're actually 2 weeks in a row because I thought we were doing a writers meeting this week. Or that I had that, and it turns out that I was a week off, and that's next week. So next week will be our time off, and Austin and I will do a different off-the-cuff, non-superhero thing that night. But we have selected a movie that we've done sequels to that we're gonna finally go back on, and the main reason
it is that.
Do you remember the main reason I picked this is because A, I'm kind of in the mood for this franchise, and B, it's gonna be related to Doomsday later in the year.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's what it was, because I think where we ended it was, I'm thinking this, but I'm going to think about it, so I wasn't sure if it was actually that. No, next time we are doing the original X-Men.
So I know that some of these we've talked about a million billion times on the channel. People don't seem to mind. I haven't gotten a whole lot of complaints about that. But we just did one like that. That was kind of obligatory, and I had said my piece on a bunch of times, but at least Austin hadn't. This time around, this will be a movie we both talked about quite a bit. But it's always interesting to go back this many years later to a thing that came out when there were relatively few of these things, and it was the start of a mega franchise that went on up until recently, forever and ever, and still technically is kind of around, since we're going to see these characters at least one more time.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see, too, where I land on it this time,
Yeah.
because I feel like every time I watch it, I, oscillate between, if, this is, par, I, oscillate between jumping up and below it, where I'm, sometimes I'm that's just kind of lame, and then other times I'm oh, that's pretty good. So I'm interested to see where I fall on this one.
Well, we always talk about how it's just kind of a setup film and we're waiting for the real story to happen. And then the last time I did any analysis on this movie, I found myself talking a lot about Magneto's just characterization and how interesting I thought that was. So I was finding a little bit more meat on the bone than I appreciated before.
I just remember as a kid, I used to watch it a lot, and then I hit a certain point where I was like, I've seen this movie 100 times. I can't recall what happens in it. I remember the opening. And I remember the Statue of Liberty, but I don't remember what the plan is. I don't remember what anyone's doing.
That's really
I think that was the moment where I realized oh, wait a minute, is this kind of generic?
Yeah, I feel that way about it too, but we'll see if we have a little bit of a different watch this time.
Yeah.
And I've never watched it with you, I don't think.
No. I think we've only watched 2 Days of Future Past and Apocalypse together.
Uh, yeah, and Apocalypse we haven't even done on this show yet.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 commentaries from us on that.
Did we do it? Did we do an actual commentary though?
Yeah,
I don't
on that,
remember that.
superhero rewatch, we started doing that. We only did 2. It was that and Batman Ninja
Batman Ninja
Turtles.
Turtles. I forgot that was one of them. You know, I have thought about because I don't have a playlist for the show yet. I keep forgetting to do that. I've thought about grandfathering a few commentaries we did in and putting them in that playlist and just kind of letting them take the spot until we eventually get to one because some of those we did so soon before this they easily could be the show that just don't have that banner, you know. But they don't have the ranking, they don't have the rating. Like it's not it's not in the same format. So there is that.
Yeah, or like when we did Guardians 1 and 2, we did them back to back in one night. So I'm sure we're probably like delusional by the time we're at the end of 2.
Well, that and we didn't do any prep for that show.
That's right.
That was blind. I mean, we both know those movies really well, so you probably get a similar
Yeah.
product. Some of the DCEU Mania commentaries probably not that far off from what we would actually do with them on this show. One of the commentaries that is most like this show that I feel like maybe ought to just count is the Batman.
Sure.
We had a commentary on that. I don't know how different that's going to be when we get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember anything that we talked about in that. I do remember we finished it and we were like, we could probably start up a new commentary and
We did say that.
have a completely different conversation. But having said that, it's been so long, we'll probably just have the same conversation when we get there.
Maybe, although, like, I will probably know that movie slightly better when we do it again than I did then. I mean, it goes without saying because I'll see it again, but, like, I had only seen it maybe twice.
I've gained some life wisdom since then. Not much, but yeah. For every year I live, I gain 1 brain cell, and I started with 6, so eventually I'll be all right.
Well, everyone, we appreciate you listening to our wacky commentary podcast. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks with X-Men, with an indisputable superhero movie that nobody can argue with, not only being a superhero movie, but being like a really important, pioneering one. And that'll be fun to go back to. In the meantime, we appreciate you hanging out with us, whether you watched live or after the fact. And if you'd like to support the program, once again, patreon.com/geekvolution. We've got several different tiers there. The $10 tier makes you a Patreon producer, and one of the perks there you get is your name read at the end of every episode of the Rewind Commentary Project. You also get to help us pick movies sometimes. This time we picked it, but next time we'll do a poll. And thanks to all the patrons, but especially these guys, including Michael, Austin Gulick, Jesse Surtees, Joe Gira, Bag Studios, Victor, Super Billy, Elliot Slater, Dr. Hello, Stone Gas Man, Goofster123, Joe Turner, The Amalgam Nation, Killer Moth Returns, Talkative Carl is a name I don't recognize. Thanks for the pledge. Matthew Brody, Abic Stark, Kareem Roberts, Damon Bugay, Adam March, Cereal When Pigs Fly, Hot Soup, Michael Martin, Kate Blaze, and the Captain Coon. Thank you guys. Austin, it's the start of the year, so a few people past Christmas have come back to support the channel. We sure appreciate everybody. That took a little longer than before, and I'm not complaining. I'm always happy when the list is longer than I was expecting. Thank you, guys.
No, Cap always complains to me that we have too many patrons. He's like, God, these people need to unsubscribe.
I've never said that. Please don't listen to Austin.
The thoughts and beliefs of Geekvolution do not reflect me most of the time.
Look, Austin, the longer list of patrons is the only thing that makes me think that I'm worthy of 9 lives, okay?
Oh, okay. That's what makes you a legend.
Yeah. I guess I should have given it a legend, but I did not.
Yeah. It's what makes you our fearless captain.
Exactly. I'm not afraid of anything except for commitment, I guess.
Yeah, not even ghosts.
I don't know. That's not true either.
I was gonna say, you have too many kids to say you're afraid of commitment.
Yeah, I can only say that. Anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again next time. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, folks.